Hello, stargazers. Bryan Colter here, Evolutionary Astrologer, for your horoscope report for the upcoming Sagittarius solar eclipse that happens on December 14th. And although that's the exact date of the event, really I'll be describing the energy of really the last half of December because of some other events going on as well. But also with eclipses, it's also important to recognize that they kickstart really a 6-month wave of influence. So as we contemplate the meaning of this Sagittarian eclipse, we'll understand how to work with that energy really over the next 6 months. So let's start quite simply with Sagittarius. Archetypally connected to a trinity of archetypes, the gypsy, the scholar, and the philosopher. Gypsies travel, it's the idea of getting the body and the idea of living, bodily engagement, a life lived passionately. The mantra of Om, roll the dice. Yes is going to teach you more than no. That's the gypsy energy. Kind of reminds me of that movie by Jim Carrey, Yes Man, saying yes to everything. That can get us into a lot of trouble, of course. But there's something kind of cool about that energy, that optimism, that enthusiasm for life, throwing ourselves into the great adventure of life. And of course, that leads to train wrecks sometimes, but really that's the learning curve for Sagittarius. And as we boil down all three of these archetypes, that's the core ingredient, is learning, basically, the sign of learning. And travel, cross-cultural experience, and saying yes to life is one powerful, effective method of doing so. And then the scholar archetype, not meant to be some old, professor at a university or something, the sort of an academic stern energy. It's not really so much that. It's it's representative of the passionate mind. There's so much to learn, so little time, so an enthusiasm for learning. So again, expanding beyond the familiar and embracing the unknown, much like the gypsy archetype does through travel, but in this case, conceptually and intellectually through the scholar archetype. And then the philosopher is the intuitive function, which represents basically the big questions in life. Like, why are we all here? What is this all about? Where did we come from? Are we alone? These are the questions of the philosopher. And for all of you out there who have a lot of Sagittarian energy in your chart, maybe even a lot of 9th house energy in your birth chart, because there's some overlap in meaning between 9th house and 9th sign of Sagittarius, then you probably have all three of these archetypes very strongly in you. But the core ingredient at the bottom, we distill all that energy down. It comes down to learning. Sagittarians are meant to pack the experience of many lifetimes into one, Now, we understand what this means for the eclipse, this 6-month wave. And this solar eclipse is simply a new moon, but a very powerful, supercharged on steroids new moon. And new moons are about new beginnings. Okay. So this is where it's very helpful to understand your own birth chart a little bit, understand where the planets are moving through your birth chart. And if you understand where this Sagittarius, if you find Sagittarius, where that is in your birth chart, you can understand where this new moon is happening in your life in terms of what house, which represents a certain area of your life. Some of them are more internal and psychological. Some of them are more spiritual. Some of them are more external. Some of them deal with relationships or job or career, So find out where this solar eclipse is happening in your own chart, and then contemplate, where can I keep my eyes on the horizon line? Where can I seek new adventures? Where can I learn in this area of my life? Where can I throw myself in the adventure of that area of my life and do things that I haven't previously done before? Because ultimately, Sagittarius really thrives when they're consistently striving to break up old patterns and routines. Also contemplate in that area of your life where you might feel a little bit stuck and bored, because that's another thing. Our general strategy with Sagittarius is to avoid boredom like it's the absolute kryptonite, and to explore in directions unexplored previously. Why? So that you can learn. Also, in that area of your life, how can you really pack the experience of 1 or 2 years over the next 6 months? Now, even if you don't know where Sag is in your chart, that's okay. If you can just play with these archetypes in your mind and try to develop a deeper relationship with these energies. Now, regardless, across the board, to me, this represents, in terms as kind of a transitional place for humanity, I guess you can say. This really feels like a breath of fresh air. 2020, been a bumpy trail. No doubt about it. And there's many astrological reasons for that I won't get into, because I've basically been describing them in every video this year. But 2020 has been a pressure cooker, and there's core evolutionary intentions for that, because us as a collective are being called to kind of grow up. To mature out of the stage that we've been in, really, for the last couple centuries. I'll say some more about that in a bit. But Sagittarius, a fire sign, injecting or igniting new life into us. This Kickstarter before we transition into this new year. Now, to gain even more insight about this, we take into consideration always, when looking at a new moon or full moon, the planet that rules the sign. This will give us some more information. So the planet that rules Sagittarius is Jupiter. So even if Jupiter was hiding off in some very obscure corner of the sky, trying to make itself as small as it could, which is kind of silly because it's the biggest body in the solar system besides the sun, but even if it were to try that, we'd still have to pay close attention to it. But it's not. It's in one of the most powerful locations possible, where it's currently dancing, the cosmic dance amidst this music of the spheres. It's dancing with the other biggest body in the solar system, Saturn, the two big baddies of the sky holding hands. And there's so many layers of meaning to this. There's the more personal meaning. What does it mean in our own lives, in specific areas of our lives? Saturn represents a great work, something we're meant to accomplish this month, next month, and even February, and however long it's in that specific house of your chart. Saturn wants you to accomplish a great work in the world that will require your blood, sweat, and tears and relentless effort and determination to accomplish it. Okay? But Saturn this is why 2020 has been such a bumpy road. It's been the year of Saturn. Saturn wants us to grow up. That's what I was saying before. And that's why 2020 is the year of the growing pains, because Saturn's been center stage all year. And here it is next to Jupiter. Kind of the last hurrah of 2020 as Saturn will soon leave its own sign of Capricorn. So the great work that will require your tremendous focus, okay? Probably bring you to your knees a little bit. Now, there's virtue in the accomplishment, of course, but then it folds back into your consciousness as a deeper level of that maturity, self-respect, and dignity and maturation. Okay, that's the evolutionary intention of working with Saturn in your own personal life. Add in Jupiter into the mix, since they're next to each other. Jupiter's the faith builder, wants us to have more faith in ourselves. Jupiter wants us to bet big in a certain area of our life and create an emboldened sense of our own abilities and what we're capable of. So there's things that are extremely difficult, Saturn, but absolutely worth doing and rewarding, Jupiter, the greater benefic, the planet of luck and expansion, okay? There's a pot of gold at the Mount of top of Mount Everest, all you got to do is climb the damn mountain. It'll take tremendous effort, hard work. That's Saturn. It'll take the earthy energy of Saturn, trying to know how to work all the tools and the ice picks or whatever, all that earth energy stuff. But it's also partly mental. You got to believe that you'll make it to the top. So that's the energy of Jupiter, Saturn playing its role in our personal life. Now, again, I defer to where they're currently at in your birth chart. Try to find Capricorn and Aquarius in your birth chart. Now, I actually did a complete video about this where I went through all the signs. I did it with Lada last year. It's a perfect time to watch it because that event's happening right now. So I'll go ahead and put a link in the show description below. That's a very important video to watch. So I'm not going to rehash all that. I just gave you the pistachio nutshell version. I want to take this down a different trail, okay? And we're going to understand the Jupiter-Saturn event in a little bit more broadly, big picture, okay, in the grand view of things. Jupiter and Saturn come together in the sky once every 20 years. But as we look over wide expanses of time, we recognize that Jupiter and Saturn, actually, when they come together every 20 years, but over 200-year chunks of time, they always stay in a particular element, whether it's air, fire, water, or earth signs. Yeah. So for the last 200 years, they've been in the earth family of symbols. Now they're entering Aquarius in 2020. And that's not exactly right. It's not as clean and cookie cutter as that. For example, in 1980, it entered Libra, an air sign, after being in 200 years of Earth. And then in the year 2000, it entered back into Earth, diverted back into Earth. And now it's firmly and squarely in air signs. I hope that makes sense. But broadly speaking, 200 years in both signs, and then it dips its toe in the next sign and then goes back because it's not sure it wants to be there, and then, okay, fine, and then it comes in. So it dipped its toes in air in 1980, went back to Earth, and now it's in Aquarius. We're firmly in the air family. So this is very interesting, because we can look back in these last 200-year cycles and see the fingerprints of those element family during those periods of time. So the water cycle happened way, way back around 1425 to the year 1600. Jupiter and Saturn was continually in the water family. So that would be Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces. And water signs are on the subjective. They're on the emotional plane. They're very inward. They're about emotional sensitivity. They're about psychic sensitivity. They're about imagination. So what was going on during this period of time? Well, the Renaissance. Talk about an explosion of human creativity, imagination. Some of the greatest artworks in history were during that time. And even on a more practical level, let's say, where we can understand water energy more literally, we were, traveling in boats everywhere, massive exploration all over the globe via water at that time. Okay, isn't that interesting? And then we entered into the fire family, and that was around 1600 to 1800. Okay, and fire is about aggression. It's about being assertive, but we take the toxic energy of that, and that was the time of endless wars, and pillaging and pioneering and colonization, okay? And then we entered the Earth family from 1800, roughly speaking, to the year 2000. And that was the industrial age. It was about building, and just plundering Earth's resources, just stripping the Earth of everything. The Industrial Revolution, where we really became, in terms of Earth, we really became undertakers of its resources instead of caretakers of its essence. And it's kind of sad in a way, but we came a long way, in those 200 years in terms of what we've built. massive expansion, of course, you can really feel the earth energy over the last 200 years. And one of the shadow sides in general of earth energy is the toxic sides of dark ambition and control mechanisms of the world. Really just took us over. And this accelerated tremendously as we've entered into this more technological age where the power structures of the planet have leveraged technology to speed up the level of control that they have. And now, squarely in the air family. Air signs are on the mental plane. Deals with information, technology. Here we are in the age of information. So we're in this period of time where this is only going to ramp up. This is just the beginning of interconnectedness. Information at our fingertips. Learning faster and faster and faster. Who needs libraries anymore? When you have Google, of course. There's all kinds of false information online, of course. And I love libraries and the smell of like actual books and that tangible part. So, hopefully they stick around. But, you get my point. We can learn so much quicker now. And we're connected with everybody on the globe. And isn't it interesting that, of course, Jupiter-Saturn first entered air in 1980? That's when the computers started getting made and, the Ataris and the internet. And that's when it started. That's really when it started to take off. And this will continue to accelerate and ramp up, especially now that we're solidly in this age. Okay. And in my opinion, I really feel this is the marker, the beginning point of the age of Aquarius, which now we're talking, 2100 year cycle. And many astrologers would probably disagree with me in terms of the starting point of Aquarian age. And I don't think any of us can really know exactly, although some would disagree with that statement too. But I simply observe reality to have an indication of when it started. And I think, it's a 2100 year cycle. So we really start to feel it. We feel its influence as it really starts to happen for the first 100 years or so until we're really in it. And I would look back, 20th century, the Wright brothers' first flight. 66 years later, we're walking on the moon. It's like, wow, wow, that's amazing. And Aquarius deals with technology primarily, okay? And us as humans living in a more humanitarian, interconnected way. And here Jupiter-Saturn coming together in Aquarius, cementing the 200-year cycle within the 2100-year cycle. The last 100 years in the 20th century, we were dipping our toes in the Aquarian age. Now I believe we're in it, especially when Pluto enters Aquarius in 2024. There's no looking back at that point. Pluto hasn't been in Aquarius since the late 1700s, and now it's returning to that sign in 2024. All this Aquarian energy is starting. So what are we going to do in this very transitional place in human history? I visualize souls for the last 40, 50, or 60 years waiting in a very long line to incarnate in planet Earth because this is such an exciting time for us. I do believe that. But as usual, the future is not set. It's just a set of potentials, of possibilities within the archetypal structures in which we're working with. In this case, Aquarius air family stuff. So, per usual, it's important to point out the stark juxtaposition between light and dark in terms of potentials, because in painting those extremes, it helps us to know which directions to avoid, let's say, and directions to strive for within the realm of possibilities. The extreme dark manifestation of this is the dark side of AI. So it looks something like George Orwell 1984, mass media control, government surveillance, totalitarianism, leveraging technology for those means. Dystopian stuff. And I don't think that's going to happen. What I do think is going to happen is we're going to come together. We're going to tap into this high-end expression of the Aquarius archetype, which is the rebel, which is the revolutionary, which bucks the system, resists the coercions of culture, this 200-year cycle of control and industrialization and damaging the earth, damaging each other, falling into the illusion, the lie, the Maya of this whole idea that we're separate, that we're meager, we're powerless. We're going to come together. And this looks much more like the movie V for Vendetta than the book 1984, V for Vendetta minus the exploding buildings part, It's about freedom. For a better future, striving for a better future, coming together peacefully, of course, revolting against the old system, no longer taking part in it, and then it falls apart. This is the major transition we're going through, and 2020 has been this pressure cooker year where this has all been coming apart at the seams, making way, because things need to come to an end, famously, to make way for a new beginning. Might not feel like that new beginning is here yet. There's kind of a last hurrah here, I believe, in December, especially the middle of December. But once we hit the end of December and into 2021, the energy is going to shift dramatically. And there's really no limits to how far we can take this. In the wise words of Buzz Lightyear, to infinity and beyond, We want to think big. We want to think expansively. God, Buzz Lightyear, what a Sagittarian character he was. That energy, that larger than life, that kind of blind faith that he had that really got him into trouble a lot of times. And, that's a part of being a Sag too. Us Sages, and I say us because I'm one myself, we're basically hardwired to make a lot of dumbass mistakes, a lot of falling on our faces, and learning from them, picking ourselves up, dusting ourselves off, and say, wow, that sucked, but I sure learned a lot. Again, returning to the root structure of Sagittarius, of learning. So keeping our eyes on the horizon line in hopes of a better future. This really does feel like a pivotal transition from the dark cold of 2020 into the light. Okay. This also reminds me of the archetype of Sag is associated with the tarot card of the Fool. And if you know anything about the tarot deck, the Fool card, it's a picture of a young boy going on an adventure for the first time. He's got his knapsack. He's looking high to the sky. He's so excited because he's finally leaving the palace for the first time in his life. Of course, he doesn't see the cliff he's about to step over. That's Sagittarian too. There's a lesson there. But just that enthusiasm. Okay, for a new adventure. That's what we want to contemplate now. And if we do that, we will raise our consciousness and have a positive effect on ourselves and in the lives of other people. And that's the core evolutionary intention as we create a better future for ourselves and expand our consciousness. Now, if you want to tap into the Sagittarian jet stream by visualizing a better future, there's no better way to do that through visualization techniques that we can use in meditation. So as usual, we'll transition to the meditation part of this video. And if you're interested in partaking, I do recommend you wear headphones because I use a technology called binaural beats, which will help to sync you into that deep theta or meditative state so that you can really benefit from the meditation. Enjoy. Let's start by simply focusing on your breath. Feel the breath go all the way into the belly and then fill the lungs. And as you exhale, first from the belly and then the lungs. Breathe nice and slow. Inhale into the belly. Exhale from the belly. Feel all the oxygen rush into your lungs and feel all the energy move throughout your entire body. Rhythmic breathing. nice and even. Breathe in, breathe out. No pause between the inhalation and exhalation. Now focus on the beat of your heart. See if you can feel your heartbeat. The subtle pulsations of the heart, sending blood throughout your entire body. And if you can feel your heartbeat, try to match your breathing to the beat of your heart. 4 beats of the heart per inhale, 4 heartbeats of the heart per exhale. In, out. Matching the breath of life with the pulse of life. See all the energy rushing into your body as you inhale, and all the stress leaving your body as you exhale. And now bring your attention down to both of your feet. Focus on your feet only. And begin to visualize a white color in and around both of your feet. And this white color is relaxing all the tissues in both of your feet. You might feel a warming or tingling sensation. And see that white color move from the feet up to the ankles now. You still see the white color in the feet, but it's continuing to move up the legs, through the ankles, into the calves, now into the knees. Remember to keep your breath steady and see the white color move into the thighs now. Softening all the tissues there. And now into the hips. And now you see both of your legs and your hips in this snow white color. Now move your attention up to your stomach area and visualize a sky blue sphere in your stomach. And each time you inhale, see that blue color, sky blue color, grow brighter, and see the sphere expand. Slowly it expands all the way to the size of a beach ball. In and around your belly, shining in all directions. And each time you inhale, see the sky blue color grow brighter and brighter. And as you exhale, see the sky blue color ripple out like a wave through your entire body, continually releasing stress from your body. It's one of the most relaxing colors, sky blue. Now move your attention up to the chest area and visualize a pink sphere in your chest. Don't focus on the anatomical heart, just the chest area. And each time you inhale, see the rose color grow brighter and also grow in size. until it fills your entire chest cavity. And feel all your emotions and desires relax, become more balanced, more in alignment with your divine nature and who you really are. This is the center of the emotional world. Inhale, exhale. And if you ever get distracted with thoughts, that's okay. Just gently pull your attention back to the task at hand and visualize this color in your mind. Now begin to feel self-love, appreciation for yourself and for your journey, how well you've done, how well you've done in this existence here on planet Earth. And show compassion for yourself. Develop empathy. By seeing how far you've come, you can also see that in others. And extend that love out to others. It's helpful if you can visualize somebody in front of you, especially if it's somebody that you have difficulty with in your life right now. And visualize them before you, staring at you blankly. And see this pink heart energy that you've been cultivating. See it going towards them out through your chest and connecting to them in their chest area. And you're sending them love, saying it's okay. I love you. I forgive you. Thank you. And slowly see the expression on their face change from a blank stare to a giddy little smile. The smile of appreciation. You see their eyes soften. And then you see pink energy leave from their heart to yours, and you have this beautiful positive feedback loop. And you're healing the relationship with this person on a psychic level. And now return your attention back to your chest area and say, I want balance in my emotional life and my desires. Now bring your attention up to the head area and begin to visualize a canary yellow color in your head, about the size of a softball. See it as vividly as you can. And as you breathe in, see this color grow brighter and also grow in size. It starts to grow into a brilliant canary yellow sun in and around your head. It begins to become so bright it's blinding. And all your thoughts and intentions begin to balance. You're only thinking creative thoughts. And see it grow brighter and brighter. And say to yourself, I want balance with my thoughts and intentions. Now I want you to begin to visualize a day in your life 10 years in the future. Start from the beginning of the day when you wake up. Where are you? Who are you next to, if anybody? What does your room look like? How do you feel? And begin to explore your room. Look outside. What do you see? And begin to create this day from start to finish. As you interact with people, it's really important to invoke as many emotions as you can. Feel all of the fulfillment, the joy, the gratitude of this amazing life that you're living 10 years in the future. What's the technology around you in the house? What sense do you have in the state of humanity? And continue to experience events over the course of your day and make it miraculous as you can, as beautiful as it can in this exercise of dream engineering. Look how far humanity has come in this day. And you look back at 2020 and you're like, wow. It's also important to invoke the 5 senses. What are you seeing? What are you touching? What are you hearing? What are you tasting? The combination of emotion with the senses, with the visualization of the future, you're creating a powerful spell. And I'll give you a few moments here to continue your visualization. Now I want you to begin to bring your awareness back to your body, the center core of your body, and visualize a brilliant white light starting to form from the core of your body. And with each in-breath, this white light grows brighter and brighter. It's like you're a star. And then this white color extends around your body in a big oval, and then in an egg-shaped oval, a white egg-shaped oval all around your body as a shield of protection.
And now begin to wiggle your fingers and toes and gently bring your awareness back into the room. And whenever you're ready, open your eyes. Thank you for joining me on this journey.